Good afternoon, everyone. Oh, and good evening, everyone. It's 6 o'clock, Monday, May 13th, and that means it's time for Lens on Real Estate. Lens on Real Estate, you're now in the Lens on Real Estate studio. And great show today. We have a couple of guests and a couple of female guests, and it's very appropriate this month because this is the month of March is Women's Month. And recognition of Women's Month. Last week, it was recognition of International Women's Month, one of the days last week. So how appropriate it is, we have two delightful, very, very informative and well recognized women in the Women's Council of Realtors. We have the president of the Georgia Women's Council of Realtors, and we also have the treasurer of the Women's Council of Realtors in Savannah, Georgia. So we're going to welcome those two women in a moment. But before we move on, I want to share with you, as I like to do, share information about what's going on in the real estate world. And just this past Friday, the chief economist for the National Association of Realtors, shared some information, and I'm going to share my screen right now, and I'm going to read what he said. He said that the job market is improving in the right way. More jobs are being created, but even more importantly, a greater number of Americans are seeking jobs. Consequently, wage pressure is lessening, with inflation tilting towards deceleration, that is, still rising, but at a slower rate. The mortgage rate can also tilt downward in the upcoming weeks. Mortgage rates can tilt downward, which is good news. Recently, we've seen several weeks of rising mortgage rates due to bad inflation figures coming out of consumer prices, producer prices, and the GDP, gross domestic product, personal consumption expenditure deflator. But today's wage gain of 4.4% is more restrained and points towards signs of lower future inflation numbers as more Americans find work and more goods and services are produced. Americans faced failing or falling living standards earlier when wages were rising by 6%, while consumer inflation was running at 9%. So the wages were running to catch up with inflation, and that's not good. It should be the other way around. It's possible that by the year's end, wage growth will be 4%, while consumer price inflation runs at 3%. So that's the good news, thereby boosting living standards. More importantly, for real estate, mortgage rates can now steadily trend downward. So, with that information from the chief economist at the National Association of Realtors, that's good news to know for what's going to be occurring in the future, and looks like at some point this year. So, we're very, very happy to hear that information from the economist. So, we're going to move on and we're going to get ready to talk to our guest today. And let me tell you about the first guest. Well, both of them. We're going to introduce them both here at the same time. They'll be sitting talking to us together. So the first person I'm going to bring into the studio is going to be Cassandra McCrory. Cassandra McCrory. And let's get her up here. Hi, Cassandra. Cassandra
Hello.
McCrory is the 2023 president of the Women's Counselor of Realtors in Georgia. 2023 president, Women's Counselor of Realtors in Georgia. And we'll have Cassandra talk about the WCR, as it might be called for short, and what that means to women in real estate. Our next guest, also with us, is, let me see here, what did I do wrong? Let's bring in Asia Tinsley. Let's get you up here, Asia. Add to strength. Okay, there we go. Asia Tinsley. Asia is a realtor. Asia's official position with the Women's Council of Realtors here in Savannah. Asia is the treasurer. And welcome to Asia. Asia stepped in at very short notice, in that we had the past president of Savannah's Women's Council of Realtors scheduled to come in, but something occurred, and she had to at least give us a standby. And that's Asia today. And we certainly thank you, Asia, for stepping in at this moment. So welcome to Lens on Real Estate, the both of you. So what we're going to do is kind of start with Asia. Or in Asia, you want me to call you Kim, or you like Asia? Because I see it's Asia Kim Tinsley on here.
Either is fine. Either is fine. I'm born and raised in Savannah, so most have known me. Most around Savannah have known me all my life, and it's been Kim for 50% of Savannah, and it's Asia for the other half. So
well, I'm going to say Asia because I got some Asians in my family. So let's stick with Asia today. Okay, so Asia, let's get started with you and tell us a little bit about you, and first, how you got into real estate. You're a realtor. How did you get into real estate?
Wow. Okay, so I have been out of the market, out of the work industry for quite some time. Back in 2008, 2009, got really sick and took some time off to heal and really spend time with my family, not knowing what the end was going to be. So it was a good time for me to just kind of step back from corporate world, where I was a purchasing manager for a large construction company. And then that was about the time the real estate market took a shift. So there was some layoffs there, and around about the same time, I was really ill. So, I think it was God's timing for me just to kind of stand still and heal, spend time with my family, and I did just that. Well, the baby of the family grew up, and it was time for him to go off to school, and I was left to do nothing. My days at PTA and Booster Club mom, those days were over for me. So it was a time for me to figure out what I wanted to do for me. And while I was working for that big home builder, I really started to get into construction and real estate, and never really had an opportunity to pursue it. So once the baby went off for college, that was my opportunity. So in 2021, after having, and I'm revealing a lot, after having open heart surgery in April of 2021, I decided, with the grace of God, that if I had the opportunity to take the real estate class, I was going to do it. I signed up in July. I started the class in September of 2021, passed in December, and took the test in January. So it just kind of happened like clockwork. Like, no other explanation other than God lined all of that up for me. So I'm very grateful to be sitting before you guys today.
Oh, wow. Well, we are too, because really, with that short period of time, you're talking about 2021, and here now you're in official capacity with one of our leading organizations within real estate. So
Absolutely.
that's wonderful. You really stepped right in. So how did you get involved? What was it that got you involved with the Women's Council of Real Estate here in Savannah?
Well, the brokerage that I originally, signed on with was out of Cobb County. So I knew that it was very important for me to connect with other realtors here locally that I can lean on, ask questions. I knew I needed a local mentor. And I attended a function here that March after I got my license. And it was a mixer, a new member mixer. And I was just intrigued by the camaraderie, both men and women that were gathered at this event, all members. And I was just intrigued by the connection, by the, like I said, the camaraderie of the people there. Everybody was so informative. They were ready to take me in as a little sister in the industry, and just warm and welcoming. And I just did not expect that. I didn't. So when the opportunity presented itself for me to join, I went on and I joined, and I have no regrets. Absolutely no regrets. It's been environment of networking and endearing people, and I'm just grateful to be surrounded by so much love in this industry. It's been amazing.
Fabulous. Now, the treasurer position, the office of treasurer, how did that occur? Did you have to run for this position, nomination? How did that work?
So yes, it is an elected position within Women's Council. I just kind of sat back for several months when I joined, and the election period opened up. I've always been the type person to, if I can, whatever I can do to leave an organization or a situation better than what I found it. I'm that person. My husband fusses at me all the time because he says I do too much, but I'm never one to sit back. So when the opportunity was presented, received an email, and I saw it, the first email, and I deleted it. And then the emails kept coming like on a weekly basis. And I'm like, okay, God, there's one more thing for me to do. So I kind of pondered, and I spoke with the one of the past presidents just about, what the position was about. Is it something that I could qualify for? If it was something that, a position where they needed someone, not necessarily with a financial background, but somebody with good bookkeeping background and the ability to work and talk with people. So after speaking with Lindsay for a while, and then with LaWanda, our most recent past president, and of course Tamika McPherson, I cannot not mention her because she is a workhorse and a big influencer here in Savannah's local network. I decided to make that plunge, not really knowing what it looked like, but I decided to make that plunge. And again, I'm very grateful that I did. Elections were held this past September. and the member base voted me in. So that's how I got here.
Well, that's great. And I got to say, and just to share this with Cassandra, in that when I met Asia, I think I met her at one of the Women's Council of Real Estate. That was the one, I think it was at the Pirates House. It was the Christmas gathering. And that was my first time meeting a few of the women because I joined late last year or middle of last year. And I attended the orientation online, and that orientation online was great. It was really great. It really made me feel good about getting involved with the organization. So I made sure I attended that, met Asia, and Tamika is at the upcoming 2023 the president-elect, and several of the other members there, and they all were, as she said, I can attest to that. Everybody was so welcoming, so very welcoming. So I would say yes, that is definitely what goes on with the women of real estate here in Savannah. Now, your treasurer role, how long will that last? Will it be just this year, or how long will that last?
Yes, it's 1 year. Each term is served for 1 year. And we'll see what happens for 2024.
Okay, well, let's get Cassandra Oliver, and this is Madam President of the Women's Council of Realtors for Georgia. And once again, we certainly welcome you. And Cassandra, I want to thank you for being so gracious. When I reached out to you, you didn't seem to hesitate at all. Just ask me a few questions, but I really, really thank you for being so gracious and accepting the invitation to come on to Lens on Real Estate in the Lens on Real Estate studio. So thank you. So what I want to first ask you, though, is to tell us, the audience and me, how you got involved in real estate. What was your path to the real estate industry?
Well, listen, Diane, I want to say thank you for the invitation to come on Lens on Real Estate. I count it an honor anytime that I am asked to come and share my story or represent the Women's Council of Realtors or any position in real estate. I am honored. So I thank you for the invitation. So my story regarding real estate, interesting enough, my background was in corporate America, and I moved here to Georgia in 2013. And when I moved down here, not knowing anybody, where to go, where to live, I kind of planted my feet, myself and my two young girls at the time. So planted my feet in Cobb County and Marietta, and still trying to figure out where I wanted to go and, of course, live. So when I finally got the opportunity to purchase a home in 2017, believe it or not, it was the first time I purchased a house because I did not know how attainable purchasing a house was. I never knew that. I was always taught or thought that you needed the 20% down, you needed so much in order to get into real estate, when there were so many opportunities to get in, and I was in a great position and didn't even know it.
And that's what this program is about, education, because you're right, Cassandra. So many people think that it's so difficult. I can't do it, but you need the education and help, the guidance, and it can be done. Yes.
Exactly. So when I realized I was able to do it, and I purchased my first house, and the real estate agent, he did a good job. He was a referral from a friend, and at the end of the day, I said, you know what, this is something I think I could do. My background, that's what everybody says, right? When they purchase a house, I can do it. I can sell a house. Well, I just, decided a little later on, okay, I'm gonna get into real estate, and I signed up to take the class. And at the time, didn't realize that my job was going through transition, and I was a part of the right sizing process. So instead of deciding to go ahead and move and get another job in corporate America, I just took a bet on myself. After taking the class, And it was not easy, as you all know,
It's
but took the
not.
and passed the class and decided to go full time into real estate. And it
Mhm.
just has not, I haven't regretted that decision. And so that's how I ended up going into real estate because of my experience and understanding that it was attainable.
Okay. And yeah, because one of the questions, because you had said, and something when I was doing my research, you had said the reason you decided to become a real estate agent is because you wanted to help buyers, sellers with their dream homes while in the hands of a caring agent. So it was based on your experience in buying your own home. Is that right?
That is correct. And see again that it was attainable. And I
Yeah.
think so many people don't realize how attainable it is. And I wanted to be that voice and
Okay.
help more people come.
Sandra,
And
I'm gonna let's stop right there. It's time for that commercial. So before we get cut off, let's move on and have our engineer get us to the commercial.
all right.
Okay. Okay, ladies, well, we're back. And so, Cassandra, if you wanted to finish that thought, we were just talking about how you got into real estate and basically your own experience is more, is what kind of was the, I guess, the targeted reason why you got into it and wanting to help other people do the same.
Absolutely. It was the catalyst that got me to where
Mhm.
I am to move into real estate. Just again, understanding how attainable it was. And I just wanted to, again, help others to realize that it just takes a change of thinking and having more knowledge about it that
Mhm.
more people can become homeowners. So that was the reason I wanted to step out into this field.
What a good reason. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for doing that. Now, let's talk before we get on to the Women's Council of Realtors. I want to ask you a little bit because in your bio too, you've received a number of awards and recognition. So tell the audience a bit about those awards. Let's talk about them.
That's one thing I don't do too much of, Diane. It's hard for me to talk about that. I just enjoy what I do.
Yeah,
Um, um,
we got to tout ourselves sometimes. So this is the time.
all right. Well, in I believe it was in my first year with the brokerage in which I started out with, I was able to receive one of the top sales awards in the sales program that I started with. Um, And then over the next couple of years, I was able to, or this is my third year, to obtain the multi-million dollar club with my association, Georgia Association. I've received the President's Award with Women's Council, I've received Member of the Year award with our local network of Cobb, where I started at. So that's just a little bit, Diane, and I'm
Wow.
not going too deep into
Well,
it.
you both really jumped right in. I tell you that you guys jumped right in there, and made yourselves available not just to your clients but to the community because WCR and I guess I'll have you both tell me your thoughts about Women's Council Realtors. I know what was that mission statement that the Women's Counselor has? but we are a network of
Network.
successful realtors advancing women as business leaders in the industry and in the communities we serve. What does that mean to each of you? Tell me in your thoughts on that slogan.
You want to go, Kasia?
Well, what it means to me, you know, in such a big industry as real estate, it's really easy to kind of get lost in the shuffle. For me, Women's Council was an, just a loving, surrounding professional base for me to cling to. That's been a support system for the last year and 2 months. I'm grateful, you know, to be around amongst the women and men in the local network, and they've been such a blessing. Not just realtors, but mortgage lenders, attorneys. They've all given a level of influence over me over my short stint here as a real estate agent. And so I look at what we're doing here in Savannah not only as a network amongst ourselves, but we're a network that's looking to make Savannah just a little bit better, to enhance our community and service, and as well as building strong and dependent homeowners.
Okay. How about you, Sandra? Your thoughts on that slogan?
So for me, when I got started in the real estate industry, probably 2019 is when I started really getting active once I received my license. And when you join, your broker says you have to join an association as a realtor. And I saw this industry as it was so vast. You didn't know where to start. You didn't know who to talk to. And while most people are and they were all here for their business and their purpose, so it was a challenge to me getting started and having someone to say, okay, let's give you a hand here or show you a little this, because when you go to school, all they teach you is basically license law and how to pass the test. It's not how to be a real estate agent or a realtor. When I found this organization from an event that was being hosted in my local area, and I walked in and I saw all these ladies who didn't care who I worked for. They just saw an individual that was new in the business, and they just welcomed me in. And I saw how successful they were, and they were so open and willing to help you in this industry. They became my realtor family. So it was because of that, and then learning what the mission of the organization was. And as I began to get more engaged and involved, I saw the power of what Women's Council brought to an individual if you wanted.
Yeah.
So if you got involved and got engaged, you got something out of it. And I got an opportunity to meet women that have done extraordinary things. And because of that, they're willing to give back. So they're climbing and they're lifting all at the same time. And that is what Women's Council means to me.
Fabulous. And in my research, I saw, and I don't recall who said that, but one of the members, and probably wasn't one of the officials, said that being a member of the Women's Council of Realtors catapulted her real estate career. And and just hearing you guys talk, it seems as though you would have that same sentiment.
I would agree.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely would agree. You have a network of friends across the country within the Women's Council of Realtors. It really does open some doors and creates relationships that are priceless.
Okay. Now, Cassandra, you as the president of the Women's Council of Realtors in Georgia, my understanding is that you're responsible for 9 local networks, and those 9 local networks Athens, Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, Cobb. Does that refer to Cobb County, or that's just the name? Is that the entire Cobb County?
That is the entire Cobb County. So right now,
Okay.
basically whatever's in that particular corridor. So we have members from Paulding and West Georgia, so different areas over there. So that's
Okay.
like the network.
So we got those. We got also Coweta,
Mhm.
DeKalb, Fayette, Gwinnett. Oh my God, Gwinnett is so huge. Metro South and Savannah. And I had said to you, I was curious about the geographic location of Metro South because I wasn't quite familiar with that name.
Yeah, so Metro South is basically area south of Atlanta. So it covers Henry County, Clayton County, and Butts County.
Okay. Now tell me about your responsibility to this vast local networks here.
So my responsibility along with our leadership team is we are the support for the local networks because the majority of the work happens at the local level. So we're here as guidance, as support to help with compliance and any conflict resolutions if needed, and for leadership growth and training because we need to help them grow in their positions and be successful so that they're able to move up if they so desire to keep the state moving forward.
Okay. Now, Asia, tell me about Savannah Local. I know you're the treasurer. Can you name the current officers? It's probably about 5 or 6 of you. That's the core of the local network.
So our governing board is led by our president, Linda Hawk. Our president-elect, Ms. Tamika McPherson. Our vice president is Tabo Bailey. Let's see. Then we have myself as treasurer and Jenny Galuk as our events planner.
Okay.
And then we have, we had a couple committee seats. Let's see. So we have a strategic partner committee that's Kevin Schwartz is the committee leader for that. And then our media specialist is Nashira Sterling.
Okay. And I know you've got a meeting coming up later this month, March 23rd, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So March 23rd is our next Women's Council Savannah Luncheon, and it's called Lunch with the Litigators. So we'll have a panel of attorneys present that will discuss all things legal real estate. So come with your questions. It's going to be informative. I'm excited about it and ready for that event. Got lots of questions.
Okay. And Cassandra, do you I guess at some point, do you visit all of these local networks? How does that work for you as the president of the Georgia Women's Council of Realtors?
That's the fun part to me. I get the opportunity to go and network and share with them. Savannah is my furthest network, so I have to plan accordingly because that's like, an overnight stay basically for me to go to Savannah from where I live. But for the most part, those that are in the metro area, I'm out visiting. They have great programming across all networks. So I really enjoy going out, supporting them because it's important for them to see us supporting them as well. Coming to the events, supporting them, their governing board meetings, all of that. We're there for them for everything they need. We have 8 leaders on our leadership team and we divide and conquer.
Wow. Fabulous. Now, let me ask you this, because a couple of weeks ago on our program was the president of the NARAM, National Association of Real Estate Board, brokers rather, and they also have a women's council. Do you all have any collaborations?
We have not had any collaboration with them locally. I am aware that they have a board. Yeah, they have a board as well. So, and some members mainly in the Atlanta area, are members of both organizations as well. So we try to get out and support all of the different groups, from NAREB to ARIA,
Yeah.
all of the groups out there. So we want to show
Yeah,
our
so-
collaboration because we need one another in this industry.
Which is a good thing, and because I think a lot of people think, yeah, because we're NAR, which I am NAR. I haven't become a realtist yet, but I'd like to. I plan to. But I think that was a misnomer with people, in that because you're this, you can't be this. But that's not correct. It is a collaborative effort on everybody's part, working together. Because this housing market is tough, and everybody, we need each other. And I think April is going to be the Fair Housing Month, I believe. So we need each other when it comes to that. So
Absolutely.
yeah. Cassandra, before we leave here at all, we got to talk about the fact that you, along with 4 other women, are state presidents of the Women Council of Realtors. And the other 4 are Sabrina Brown in California, Charmaine Hickey in Florida, Anna Phillips Ferguson in Maryland, Frances Anderson in Tennessee, and then, of course, Cassandra McCrory in Georgia. So there are only 5 Black females that are state presidents. Is that 5 out of what? Is it about 23 or so? What you know that figure?
We have it's close to 23, close to 25.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was looking at that map when I was doing my research. It had a map of the local networks and the breakdown. Some of the states don't have it. Some of them got just 1 or 2, so therefore they don't have a state. They got this liaison, and I want you to talk to me about that liaison too. But and I counted the solid drawings, how the matrix was, and it appears I counted about 23 states that had a full state president, state organization. And so that's 5 out of 25, let's put it like that. So that's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah, we are excited about that, and seeing the diversity across the country, and encouraging more to get involved, not just from African American. We're talking about our Hispanic brothers and sisters, our Asian, brothers and sisters, because again, Women's Council is not just women either.
Right.
We have them. 2% of our membership, I think it's 12% now, of our membership is men. So we encourage men to get involved as well. So we've got some growth across. We do have a male president. Is it in Idaho or is it Montana? But we do have a male president, state president out there.
Asia, we got any male local networks? Any males in the local network, Asia?
We do have male members. We do.
Okay.
I can't give you a percentage, but we have several.
Right. Okay, well, that's great. So we're in the in making the progress. We're in that progressive stage along with everybody.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I want to say too, for Savannah, I am super proud of them, Diane, and their particular growth right now. I think Savannah is our largest network in the state right now, and they are pushing 100 members, and hopefully they'll see that before the end of the month. So we're excited about Savannah.
Yeah, that was one of the questions I had for LaWanda, because I saw during her tenure in 2022, there was a challenge of the locals to see who could raise or at least recruit the most or new members and return members, renewals. And Savannah won. Was it both, Asia, do you recall, or was it the new members?
If I can speak to it for her, I can tell her what the criteria. There were several criteria that need to be met in order for that. So it was the number of retained members, the number of new members, and a couple of other administrative things that they needed to meet. And Savannah, for that particular quarter, I think it was second quarter, that Savannah.
Well, awesome, awesome, Savannah. When are membership drives? Is that a certain part of the year designated each year at the same time, or how does that work? Asia, you know?
So we're always recruiting new members.
Okay.
There's no specific time of the year. If you
Mhm.
recall, Ms. Diane, at our luncheons, there's always a spill where we discuss, where we are currently, and encourage those in attendance who aren't members to join. So we're always looking for new members. I'm always wearing my WCR name badge or my pin somewhere to encourage people to ask me what it's about. So we're always looking in an official capacity and day to day. We're always recruiting.
Oh, great. I think we're at an interval now for a commercial. Yes, we are. So we're going to take one more commercial break, ladies.
Okay.
Okay, we're back. I want to ask about that liaison position. Cassandra, is it national liaison?
Liaison.
Yeah.
There's a national and then there's a state liaison.
Okay. So there's one state for each. Each state has a liaison.
A liaison, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and
what
that
is
person works with. Okay. I think
Can
we
you hear
had
me?
a delay. So
Oh.
can you hear me, Diane?
Yes, I can hear you. What's their
Okay.
role?
So the national liaison is basically the go-between between the state and the national level. So they're there to provide the support that's needed, basically from a compliance perspective. So there's different things that we have to comply with as far as being a network, and with the locals as well. So just things from making sure our taxes are filed on time, from things like forming up new networks, things of that. So they're the go-between between the leadership, executive leadership level, and the state level. And then within the state, we have a state liaison. And depending on the size of your state, you may have what's called district vice presidents. And because we are a large network, with 8 or more networks, we have district vice presidents. So the district vice presidents would be the connection for the local networks, and they would work with the state liaison. So it kind of ascends up.
Okay. Now, what about this PMR? Is it PMR designation? Do I have that right? Performance Management
Management Network. PMN.
PMN. Okay. So this designation, I see in my research that as the president, you're required to have that. Is that correct? That designation?
Yes, our leadership should have a PMN designation, and our designation can only be done within Women's Council. You cannot get that designation in any other organization, not even at the NAR level. You have to be a member of Women's Council in order to get a PMN designation.
I got you. Okay, that's interesting. How long has that PMN designation been in place? Has it been years, or is this something new?
It's not new. I can't tell you when that one began. Diane wasn't sure about that particular one, but it's been in
No.
place for quite some time.
Okay. All right.
And it's another designation training that, again, providing leadership skills and training for the women, the realtors that are members of Women's Council. And the one thing about it is within our network, when people are looking for referrals, they look for those who have that PMN designation, and because they know the level of leadership and the level of realtor that is because of the training they receive in
Right.
Women's Council. So they work with them first before they'll go to another individual. So
Interesting.
it's a great designation to have.
Okay. And that designation is if you're a member of the Women's Council of Realtors, then you can sign up to
You can apply for
enroll in
that
getting that
designation.
designation. Okay. All right.
Correct.
Good to know. Cassandra, what's on the schedule? We know about March. You know anything else about the other scheduled events for Savannah?
Not for me or for
Actually, I
Asia.
was asking Asia.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, I don't know which one's for Savannah.
What does the current president have on the horizons for Savannah?
Well, our calendar has kind of been ever changing, but we do have for April some community events that she wants to add to the calendar. So you stay tuned for that. I'll make sure I share it with you as soon as we get it solidified.
Okay, great. And Cassandra, I did have on my questions for you was, now that you're president, now you officially began the role in January. You were elected in, was it June of last year? So
No, I was elected in 2021, and I ascend to the role. So once you're elected to
okay,
president-elect, you ascend to the role of president in
okay,
your following year. So I was elected as president-elect in 21, serving in 2022, and president in 2023.
oh, okay. You served as the president-elect in 2022. Okay, and
Correct.
now you've ascended to the president, and that took place. Was it January of this year? Is it like a full calendar year that the service is done?
And technically, it starts the first Tuesday after the NAR convention ends. That is when you
Oh,
officially take position. But we do overlap those last month and a half for transition purposes,
hmm,
and you really start working in your year in January.
okay. And your activities for Georgia, you got a lot. So, what are some of the things you got planned for Georgia and the local networks?
So with the local networks, as Asia alluded to the community event, we actually have a statewide Give Back Day that we do every year. We started this
Mhm.
under past President Norm Kennedy in 2021 when we celebrated 50 years as a network. So we do a annual Give Back Day every year on April the 20th. So all
Mhm.
of our 9 networks will convene in some sort of community event for the members to engage in. This year, I challenged all of the networks to partner with their association to
Mhm.
make it an even larger event. So we've got some that are doing some really amazing things on April the 20th. So we'll make sure that you know about it across the state so that you can, see the great things that they're doing. The next thing that we'll be doing from a state perspective is basically our membership meeting in June, and then
Mhm.
we'll convene together in Savannah once we come together for the GAR Expo conference. So we'll have a day of events for Women's Council going on that day. It'll be a lot of fun. So stay
Oh,
tuned for that as
so Savannah's
well.
going to have a major event going on. Okay,
Yeah,
and I'll know because I'm a member of the council, so I'll make sure we announce that on Lens on Real Estate too. Yeah, we're gonna make
absolutely.
make
Absolutely.
make everybody aware of that. Well,
Yeah.
ladies, do you know it's been almost 50 minutes? So it is
Wow.
close to the time that we have to say goodbye to our audience. But I definitely want to thank each of you for coming on once again. As I said, both of you were so gracious in terms of your acceptance of my invitation. I very much appreciate it. And Asia, when you begin to work on your PMR, you're going to have some speech, speaking to the public, some experience to go on. Hey, you didn't look nervous at all. I got to tell you that.
I am very nervous. I will say that. I don't mind talking in front of people, but it's something about that camera for me. So I'm definitely
She did amazing.
You
did amazing,
Yes,
Diane.
absolutely. You both were. And Cassandra, much success to you and your role. You've got a major role, and much success to you, and congratulations on being a trailblazer. Tell you the truth, a trailblazer. So congratulations on that. So we do appreciate both of you, and thank you so much for joining us today in the Lens on Real Estate studio.
Thank you so much for having us.
All right. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
So audience, that kind of concludes our time with our guests. But before we leave, I want to share with you a particular home. Let's look at homes, because again, this is a real estate program. And the home today that we're going to feature is 105 John Eady Court, 31405 here in Savannah, Georgia. This home is a 4-bedroom, 3 full bath home, and this home is 2,709 square feet. And as you can see here, it's a 2-story home, 2-car garage. Look at the white wood cabinetry in the home. Very nice. Look at the wide open space here, the coffered ceiling over there in the living room. Looks like a living room, dining room combination, but the coffered ceilings are just beautiful. Here's views, more views. Headed on upstairs. The floors are carpeted upstairs. Now the price tag on this home is $406,000. But again, what you need to do is reach out to a realtor. And if you want to reach out to me, Diane Scott, Real Estate Diane, certainly I would love to help you. If you're interested in taking a look at this home or any other home, you can reach out to me in terms of that. And let me put up on here before we leave. Let's put some information up here about how you would reach me. And if you're buying, selling, investing, and you want to look at any additional listings, you can go to my website, which is www.realestateDiane.com, or you can go to ScottRealtyProfessionals.com and look at the existing listings. And do reach out. Give me a call if you're interested in looking at and purchasing a home, investing in a home, because as we like to talk about, your way to generational or wealth building, one of the main ways is real estate. So do reach out, and we're going to see you next week on Lens on Real Estate. Thank you for joining us today. Bye-bye.
like this. I like that.